This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. The robot. Hey, you guys can actually hear it, the music this time. I'm always nervous now that the music's not playing. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's really warm here too. It's crazy, the weather right now. Not 104, but... Yep, so we're not going to be talking about summer wells tonight, so you might as well go to another channel if that's all you're here for. Hey, thank you, Emily Flotilla, right out of the gate. Wow. All right, that gives me a lot of, like, energy. Thank you so much.
Wow, Gray, that's so cool. Look at that Emily Flotilla.
Yep. Very cool, very cool. Yeah. I'm gonna try to get back to what we were doing before. There isn't any new information, so we can sit there and you guys know where I stand on the Summer Wells case. You know, it's kind of down to like Dawn or Candace, right? And then a very remote chance that it was an abduction. Yet, there's still a chance, okay? All right. And it's just like, come on, you guys. How many different arguments can you make? It's just kind of obvious, right? All right, so we're going to be doing a couple more like recent stories, 2 updates really quick here. And then also, there was this lady that was murdered in a park along with her pit bull. I know that there's more outrage of the murder of the dog, but, you know, I don't assign the same. I think it sucks and everything, but I'm not a big fan of pit bulls in general. But at the same time, you know, it's somebody's pet and it was killed, but you sort of wonder what the hell was going on with that. I mean, maybe the pit bull attacked somebody, and, you know, I mean... It's strange that the pit bull didn't do a little bit more defense. You guys ready? All the hellos out of the way? Yeah, by the way, I can't get a hold of Wally Gator. Do any of you guys know remember Wally Gator? I don't even know what his real name was. I'm sure it's probably like Walter or something. But... Well, thanks, Jennifer. Yeah, they had me up on Web Sleuths for a little bit there. Just, you know, just trying to put out the rational information. Thanks, Janie Sue Dubs. Welcome to the Freaks. Now you can use those cool emojis that are out there. All right, let me start off with that one.
The stabbing death of a woman and her dog. It's hard.
Yeah, I don't really watch a lot of it. I've been a friend, you know, even though we have some differences from time to time, but I've been a friend of Trisha Griffith for, gosh, since the McStay days. I mean, we talk on the phone and stuff like that. So that's like, what, 8 years ago? Well, I'm one of the people that has a hard time using web sleuths. It's hard to like weed through because they have a lot of people on there wildly speculating like everybody else. And then you have to find the ones that are like verified insiders, and I always have a difficult time navigating. It's not very intuitive. Yeah, I do want Wally Gator's information. I want to know. I want to make sure he's okay. Because there was one thing that was a little bit weird with Wally Gator. I don't know if you guys remember at the end, but the last time he was, last week or two. See, he used to, he'd send in super chats, $2 here, $4 here. But then he was sending in he sent in a couple $50 ones, and I was I actually mentioned that to somebody. I go, man, that's a little weird. It's almost like, something's going on there. Okay, like you're saying, almost like a goodbye, like helping people, So that's what was in my mind at the time. I hope he's okay. Yeah, send me an email if you have his information. Yeah, just send me an email. I don't need you to put it any more in chat about it. Okay. So here is the case of the, this Piedmont woman who was stabbed to death.
Hard for many to believe, especially since the death of a woman and her dog. It's hard for many to believe, especially since it happened at Piedmont Park. Those who loved Katherine Janness.
Kind of quiet, but oops.
Memories as police now search for her killer. Natisha Lance is at Piedmont Park where a memorial has formed.
Well, a memorial in front of Piedmont Park where this killing happened has been growing throughout the day. People dropping off flowers and even dog treats. And friends of the victim tell me that they plan to keep her name out in the public and alive as long as they need to until her killer is found.
Katie was the most down-to-earth, beautiful spirit that you would ever meet.
A group who knew Katherine Janness gathered around the bar inside Campagnolo. It's where she worked as a part-time bartender. None of them wanted to go on camera, but told us she was kind, intelligent, and an artist. Chip Powell worked with Katie for 8 years at the Whole World Improv
nodding.
Theater. She was the bar manager.
Oh, modding.
All the people in the world that you would never expect something like this to happen to, Katie was the one. It's unbelievable.
40-year-old Janness was found stabbed to death with her dog in Piedmont Park early Wednesday morning. Her girlfriend said she had come by her.
What channel is that? One Sly Angel, or send me an email on it. Don't type it in. That's interesting.
Her restaurant Henry's to say hi while walking their dog Bowie. APD says a camera near 10th and Piedmont captured her last moments as they walked across the Rainbow Crosswalk. It was the opposite direction of her home. When she didn't come home, her girlfriend got worried and found her through the Find My iPhone app.
And to have her with her dog out at that time of night, I think she probably felt protected.
Over text, Katie's girlfriend Emma Clark told us she is just trying to get through the day. She had planned to spend the rest of her life with Katie, someone who was always teaching her new things and was the best dog mom, which makes her death with her dog that much more devastating.
Pretty weird.
Not knowing if in those final moments she was protecting him or him her.
Yeah, well, it could be that the pit bull attacked somebody else, and then she tried to defend the pit bull when that guy was trying to. I mean, we don't really know. You'd have to see it on surveillance, but I have no idea. All right, let's see. My heart is very broken. Fiance of the woman stabbed to death in Piedmont Park mourns the loss.
The brutal stabbing death of a woman and her dog at a popular Atlanta park has left friends stunned. Left all of us stunned, really. Someone murdered her Wednesday morning at Piedmont Park in Midtown Atlanta.
That's the
Atlanta police
surveillance
have not
footage.
made any arrests. The woman's friend spoke to Fox 5.
We are learning more about the stabbing victim, Katherine Janness. She worked here at Campanello's as a bartender and was in a committed relationship with her partner for 7 years.
We just talk, sit down together after work. It's just hard to believe that she's gone.
Family and friends are still processing the sudden loss of Katherine Janness. She was affectionately called Katie. Friends are still remembering her as a kind soul. She was in a committed relationship with Emma Stanley. The two lived walking distance from the park and were often seen walking their dogs. Groomer Corey Briscoe said Katie came by his workplace almost daily at the pet set.
Yeah, she loved her dog a lot. She always used to come in, get a few bags of treats and everything. Used to talk about I would want my dog to defend me, and I think that's what was the repercussions of it, why the dog was possibly killed. But if I was in the same situation, I want my dog to defend me just as well her dog possibly did for her.
Well, it's weird because it was her fiance's dog, not hers.
Atlanta police scoured the park.
So maybe the dog didn't think very well. I don't know, like if it was already having the connection to protect her. I don't know how long they've known each other and how well the dog knew her, that kind of thing.
Looking for evidence. They searched the lake and knocked on doors, trying to find the person responsible for the vicious attack that even disturbed veteran lawmen. Katie's partner Emma released a statement to Fox 5. Today I lost the love of my life and my baby boy. It was tragic. She was the most intelligent, kind, humble, and beautiful person I have ever known. I wanted to spend every second with her. He was the sweetest, most loyal companion. My heart is very broken. My world will never be the same. Corey says the Midtown community is also on edge.
7 years.
Everyone's on high alert. I hear people talking about it at the corner store, like I said, at the train station. They don't want to go out. They just don't want to walk around no more. It's just, even seeing the helicopters around all the time now, it's not how Midtown feels. Atlanta
police are checking the many cameras around Midtown, and there are lots of them. They are also asking for the public's help. If you have any information, you are asked to give police a call.
Let's see. Katherine Janness went out to take her fiance's dog for a walk early Wednesday morning and never came back. Family members say her fiance, Emma Clark, followed them through her iPhone tracker and found both Janness and her 3-year-old pit bull, Bowie, dead near the entrance of the park on 10th and Charles Allen Drive. Let's see where that is. I think I... Okay, right there. So, oh yeah. Well, that one, I think that one surveillance, you can see her somewhere around here. Look like. That's weird. I keep seeing these all around. Are they just free to use for people or what? These little, even in Portland we have those. I don't know. Like a bunch of these right here. What's up with those? You just get on them and... You feel like you're on a field trip? Oh, you have to put money in them and just... Okay. Yeah, so apparently just right around in this area, this is the entrance here. Huh. So let's see. Officers with the Atlanta Police Department told Fox 10 that Janness had been stabbed multiple times and the scene of the crime was gruesome and hard to stomach. Jeez. She was the most intelligent, kind, humble, and beautiful person I've ever known. God, it's just one of those ones where it's just, if it's random, it's going to be tough. However, there's like hundreds and hundreds of cameras around there, it looks like. Or, lots of cameras. However, it's also Atlanta. It's GBI. They're for some reason, I always get really leery when it's GBI. I'm like, oh, jeez. Okay. And there's so many cases that they seem to drop the ball on. I'm not sure what the deal is there. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't really have much more to go on this, but maybe if we get some updates here. I don't know. Isn't it Georgia Bureau of Investigation? Yeah. Remember the DJ Ficky case? They're, just awesome medical examiner. Come on, how do you guys not know what GBI is? You guys follow the oh wait, maybe you don't watch. We've only brought up GBI like 1,000 times. Yeah, hope they catch the person. Should be on surveillance footage. Right, but we say GBI hundreds of times on the show. Okay, let me move on to a couple updates here. We've got okay, so remember the Halderson case? This one? These two guys, two parents of another individual who killed both of them. But they finally identified her, which kind of gives you in your mind a sense of how her body was probably mangled. I mean, it's like human remains found near Sauk City in the investigation of a murdered Windsor man and his missing wife, in which the couple's son is the primary suspect, have been identified as Krista Halderson. The announcement brings sobering conclusion to a weeks-long search for Krista Halderson, 53, and confirms she was killed after last being seen before the 4th of July weekend, when her son Chandler Halderson claimed his parents went on a trip to northern Wisconsin and they didn't return. Investigators found dismembered human remains on July 14th on state-owned land in northwestern Dane County in the town of Roxbury near the Wisconsin River. The Dane County Medical Examiner's Office, with help from the Wisconsin State Crime Lab, was able to identify the remains through a DNA match as Krista Halderson. Law enforcement searched the area after a person reported seeing someone matching Chandler Halderson's description walking away from the river on July 3rd. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, who knows what his motive is. Law enforcement searched the area. A person reported seeing someone matching Chandler Halderson's description walking away from the river on July 3rd. Additionally, Barrett, who had previously said he was optimistic Krista Halderson would be found alive, said more human remains were found Tuesday on family property in Windsor. Those remains have yet to be identified. Well, shit, who the hell is that then? Probably more of her body, actually. Barrett said local, state, and federal law enforcement personnel have been working tirelessly to search several areas throughout the southern part of Wisconsin. That's the killer right here. Absolute whack job. He was later charged on July 15th with murdering and dismembering his father, Bart Halderson, 50, and disposing of his torso at a rural property outside. Ooh, so wow, that's just. Yeah, you guys know what my stance is on this. I mean, if you have the ability to chop somebody's body up, unless you work at a morgue or you're, there's a reason for doing it, you should be put in prison for decades. I mean, if you just have the ability, you know, like you're at a party and somebody, you know, takes some drugs at your house and they pass out and they die, and you panic and you chop them up, you should get like 40 years in prison, even if you didn't kill them. Because that means you're psychologically deranged. You're somebody that has the ability to hack somebody apart. Okay? That's where I stand on that one. What do you think, Ada? Are you still out there, Ada? Come on, what do you think on that one? I'm just testing to see if she ducked in and out. Yeah, exactly. Like his parents make it even worse, right? He was later charged on, let's see, as part of the case, authorities searched a landfill near Watertown, which wrapped up Wednesday. A dive team continues to check the pond behind the Halderson's family home in Windsor, where Chandler Halderson lived with his parents. This has been a time-consuming and exhaustive investigation, and I want to, we're just going to commend everybody. So there you go. That's where they're at now. They've identified the mother and the father that he hacked up into bits and put all over the place. All right. So now we're about, if you guys, we are on the last day of the month before donation night. So if you guys would like to help out the channel, support me so I can keep doing these shows, as well as the charities at the end of the month, that would be great. Because without Emily Flotilla tonight, it would be a big goose egg. Thank you very much. Thank you, Liver D. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy with the parents. All right, so I'm going to move on from that. We've got that update, and then we've also got this other one here. Remember him, the jogger? Thank you, Liver D. And Jessica Schubach. Man, look at that. There's the horse, man.
Ocean wave, ocean wave, ocean wave.
And thank you, Rita Schaefer and Tawny Lee. All right. So let's see what they've got on this jogger. We've exhausted the obvious. 2 weeks on. Friend reveals details. So now there's some details on this. So let's see what we get. You guys remember this one, right? The jogger? Or, let's see what his name is. K-R-E-Y. It's got to be in here. Yeah, right there. Hey, thank you, Shelly Ann. Thank you, generous freaks. I'll have to put my own hearts in there. There you go. Yep, there's the fly. Thank you, Janine Schaffel. Hey, look at that. The Dadio Caspian Horses Rock Lemon. Yeah. So it's like right in this area here, where his car was found.
I'll be Chewbacca if you want me to.
These trails all up and around in here. He was going to go running. So now let's see what it says here. Thank you guys very much. Over 2 weeks since the mystifying disappearance of a Bay Area man at a well-trafficked park, a friend has posted a lengthy Q&A about the search, clues, and frustrated dead ends. Huh. Well, does anybody have that actual post? I'd rather read his post than... maybe I can go find that. Berkeley resident Philip Krychek, 37, went missing on a run at Pleasanton Ridge Regional Park on July 10th. The PG&E analyst and avid runner parked his car near the Mahler Ranch staging area. Thank you, Janine Saffel, right? At around 11 a.m., after telling his wife he was going for an hour-long run. When he didn't return home as expected, his wife reported him missing at 2 p.m. Krychek was found, his car was found undisturbed with his wallet and cell phone in it, police said, which, doesn't seem weird to me. If you're going jogging, you would lock your stuff in the car. You wouldn't really need your cell phone. You just kind of just run and come back to the car. Yeah, good job, D&K Rec. What's the significance of the 253, by the way? I keep seeing that. I think I've asked you that before.
Gray the Great Hughes, I made it on time tonight.
Yeah, I think Jessica Schubach wants to know too. Friend and fellow runner Chris Thoburn wrote in a QA. You can read it in the entire... Oh, okay, there we go. Let's do that. All right, here we go. Yeah, wow, that's huge. Yeah. Wow. That's... I don't even know if I have time to go through this. That's just huge. Let's give it a shot, see what happens. Alright, let's give it a shot here. Do you guys want to go through this whole thing? Chris Thoburn, this is a question and answering. Do you want to do it? It's pretty long. Put a 1 if you're interested. How about this? If you want me to go through the long version, how about let me do a... Okay, there we go. Here's the community question. There we go, everybody. Oh, we got 100% so far. We got 100%. 100. Wow, look how good those pull. Yeah, look, it's only at 83% right now. I would kind of like to know all the different details. Oh, it's his old football number? Oh, cool. Excellent. All right, what do we got? We have... I just ended the poll. Only 59 votes. 84%. That sounds like a win. Sounds like a win. What do you think? Is he in the park or out of it? My hope from fairly early on is the search has
53 is D's old football number and now our son's.
Has been that he did make it out of the park. The odds are far better for his survival if he did. That said, we have no evidence that he made it out, and our search for video at potential exit points has turned up nothing so far. All signs currently still point to him having gone for a run in the park and not having left it. So it must have been... My hope from fairly early... His hope was that he'd left the park up there. Mountain lion attacks are rare. That said, it's nearly the first 2 weeks of the search. Lions were spotted daily, even in exposed areas during the hottest part of the day. They are clearly very active in the area and getting stared down by one while camped out for a night search is not an experience I'll forget. The wildlife question in general, though, I don't think is a good explanation for how things went wrong for Philip. It's far more likely that he either succumbed to heat or fell prior to any wildlife involvement. It's certainly a possibility, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what did Philip and I discuss the night before he went missing? I'll start with the text thread and fill it in person conversation after. I think our text leading up to his experience or his disappearance. Man, it's so small for my eyes. Oops. I haven't wanted to share them or our in-person conversation publicly before, because if we talk about many other places to run, places he ultimately chose to run, and it made no sense to accidentally direct search efforts and resources to areas he wouldn't be. So getting so much good work and mainly work and demolition. We're ripping everything out and tenant unit. I meant to running. I'm not sure what that means. I think it's probably I meant to go running, but yeah, that's got to be even more. Oh, I think he's just I was talking about running. Yeah, Jen's parents are visiting this weekend, which gave me an excuse to run both days and not leave Jen outnumbered by the toddlers. Thinking of camping this week in potentially Tahoe area. Let's see. I don't know who. You know which side is which? Like, is this is over here, Philip, on this side, the green? Because up here it says to Philip. And so is it on the left, the to, or the right? I don't know which one is which. I'm just waiting for somebody to reply. Nice. We would have trouble committing to and planning our overnight with Kai and Kia this weekend, given our, 6:30. Just running with another fellow from Skyline Gate. Might push to 6:45. I think the green is him. I've got a free pass Friday night and Saturday morning if you're up for a run. I could go further than normal because Jen... Well, what's his wife's name? Is his wife Jen? Let's see. Because I need to go to Walnut Creek to pick Tyler on the way. I'm willing to leave by 7:30 a.m. at the earliest. That's cool. And maybe even a bit later. I have to go to Stockton in the afternoon and could maybe do it on the way. May need to do some housework. I've never run those places either. Did you have a distance in mind? I think this route. So I think this is him right here in the green. Jeez. Sorry about that. Hey, thanks, Janine, for letting us know you're back. Whoa. I was almost not able to do the show when you were gone. I appreciate you, though, mentioning that you're back. I think it's so hilarious. Well, no, July has 31 days, Miss Marple, right? Yeah, July has 31 days in it. It's tomorrow. Doesn't that make sense? I'll confirm with Matt. He wants to push the uphill portion, so expect to work for the first half. I'm very interested in Suno Hamilton. Should be five of us can make it. Bummer. Sounds like I should be in Stockton by 12. If you did Stockton first, what time would you be able to get to the mountain? Gotcha. Well, so it wouldn't work because I think the green is him, right? Need to keep intensity and duration low though. This evening or during the day if you aren't working. Currently thinking 5 p.m. Does sound fun. I'm just trying to see if there's anything in here that sounds negative in any way. It's actually Waterloo staging area just before Moon Gate. I can pick you up at 5:45. Perfect. I like most IPAs and dark beers. I'll take you up on the ride. More time to catch up. Currently about 10 minutes behind. Putting away some groceries. Okay, just text me when you're on your way. No rush. On my way, 3 minutes. So I think this is just, that might have been like the day before or something. Yeah, we went out that night to have fun, not for a serious run. The third runner, David Lamb, hadn't met Philip before, and while he joined us, he ended up being able to drive himself. We ran the first part of the loop, Waterloo, staging to French Trail, to Redwood Peak Trail, to Redwood Peak. We sat there for about 30 minutes enjoying a warm breeze on a pretty much perfect evening and drinking the beers I'd packed in my running vest. That's where these 4 photos came from. I brought 3 different beers. Philip chose first and drank Fort Point's Villager. The fittingness of that selection for the weeks that have followed have stuck with me. So these are just some photos they took. So I think this is the missing person right here. That's Lamb. While on the run, we discussed a lot of things, a few of which I won't share because they're conversations about life decisions, relocating sort of things. He and his wife were planning that clearly will have changed now. I'm not sure what that means. But 2 conversations we had do matter. First, we talked a lot about his work, how his work was going, and how his life with Kia was going. His daughter is only 8 months old. Philip was excited, happy, and content. He felt work was going great and was proud that a big project he'd been hired to work on was nearing completion, which seemed to give him a sense of satisfaction as he approached taking his next 4 weeks of parental leave in August. We discussed the possibility of he, Jen, and the kids joining my wife and I in Mammoth Lakes for the month where I'm just type like a regular person. And now maybe not considering, since I want to continue searching. Spending a period of time for altitude training before taking a shot at the JMT FKT. Finally, we talked a lot about running plans for Saturday. Our initial thinking of Mount had fallen through for logistical reasons. Side note, I don't want to read the side note. Our conversation was mainly around what would be a short route. So it doesn't sound like he's upset about anything. Heat stroke. Yes, I believe this is the most likely culprit. Well, if it was the most likely, he would be easily found. Or I guess if you got heat stroke and you became delusional, you might wander off somewhere. But wouldn't he be found by now? Uncooperative landowners. There have been 2, one in Tahan Canyon area. They haven't let them search. What has changed in terms of runner safety for me? I'm already more safety conscious than most male trail runners. Was he familiar with the park? We don't know. I suspect he was because I had previous conversations with him about details of staging areas, that trails can be accessed from them most easily. If it wasn't heat adapted, why would he go for a run? So apparently he wasn't adapted to heat. He wasn't running in heat often. Yeah, me too, Amber. But most likely, I think he went here because he hadn't been here often, and it was a very short detour for him on his way to Stockton. Is there evidence he actually drove himself? Yes, in addition to UPS store cameras, which is how we know he changed clothes in his car afterwards. His car's journey was tracked via various fast track and traffic cameras from leaving that store where he dropped off a return item until getting to the trailhead. Let's see. He had also called his wife that morning before setting out with his rough plan and texted her from the trailhead to give her his ETA. Has super sharp spike, I think. All citrus. Citrus has spikes. Flying dragon, bitter orange. When are we leaving? I don't even know what the hell any of that means right there. In terms of why I didn't want to lay out all of the details sooner, as I mentioned above, people tend to over-focus on non-key things. And when it... Well, listen. You put a lot of non-key stuff in your little question and answering here. Why didn't you just put in the key stuff where it would be literally, 2 paragraphs? So you didn't help anybody for not focusing in on non-key things because you brought up stuff that's irrelevant. They're exactly the sorts of things we don't need. The night Philip went missing, another missing person turned up dead in the water of Del Valle. Imagine the extra headlines and the details of he mentioned he might go running in Del Valle was said already. Was he planning on running clockwise or counterclockwise? Did he usually run without his phone? I've seen him run with it and without it. Typically he prefers not to carry anything, so that makes sense to me. He seems to, the night before he ran without his phone. He seems to mostly run with his phone when he has a work call or family call he knows he will need. Did his job put him at risk? Basically, this question comes up a lot in various forms. No, nothing Philip did for work was working on, or what he was working on would have made him a target. What happened with the blood? Could it have been the result of Philip defending himself? It was tested twice, and both times came back as animal blood. Okay. Have we checked all the water sources? Yes. That's not to say we couldn't have missed something. There's a big portion of this park that even with his coverage of where we've been, I've been unsurprised to learn later we walked right past something. Most of the primary search area is littered with brush, fallen trees, tall grass, and general buildup of sticks and leaves. There's more water in the drainage than I would have expected. Most of them have at least one area that's still wet. Have we checked the drainage and pipes along Foothill? Yes, as did search and rescue, but at this point it's worth checking again if you have time and can do safely. 3 missing ultra runners. This one is crazy, but I'll answer it anyways. The first of these 3 is Lucas Horan. I don't even want to go through it. It's crazy. Did we bring search dogs into the steep ravines? My understanding is search and rescue took them into a couple of them. At least they didn't need to descend. Then they entered from the bottom and worked up without needing to get up the sides. We've been alerted to where they are, the homeless encampments. Is using Strava for mapping typical for him? Can you connect me with historian to help identify specific land? Jeez. Have you checked wildlife camp? See, there's, people overthink trying to help a lot. You ever notice that? Like, yeah, everyone's running out of stuff, so they come up with these wild things. Can you get me in touch with a historian? We can go over. Well, what the hell? Let's go find the guy, okay? Want anyone able to track the GPS watch? I don't even know what it said. It might have been relevant, but I'm just reading it like, man, people, every time there's a case, somebody comes up with these, they want to be really relevant, so they come up with these wild suggestions on how to help. because it's definitely not something anybody else said. And there's a reason for that. Yeah, he wasn't heat adapted, so maybe the hyperthermia is definitely an option. Why wasn't there a call for camera footage? Initially, we left this as the PPD, and they did tell us what cameras they were tracking down. That includes the Nest cameras in the neighborhood. Do we believe there could be foul play involved? We have no evidence to suggest it. What about the Santa Rita road sighting? When we decide to say that we found this sighting credible, I agonized over the wording. This is one of those cases where it's very easy to word something in a way that misleads, and I think we did a decent job of that. By credible, we specifically mean that after speaking with the woman who made this report and some folks I guess you meant, who know her, we do believe that she saw what she says she saw roughly when she says she saw it. But there's every chance that the person she saw was not Philip. It was hot. Shirtless man running with dry mouth and looking a little extra fatigued because it was hot. I'm almost surprised we didn't get a dozen such reports. However, a large swath of park slopes into Laurel Creek Drive, eventually including many of what we consider to be the most likely accidental or intentional alternative ways down. And let's keep going. What are we seeking from camera footage? Well, him. What about the runner reported to have been seen after seeing another runner on the ridge that day? Let's see. What about the runner reported to have seen another runner on the ridge that day? We would still love to find that person. What about the scent dogs? Unfortunately, they aren't as amazing. Yeah, there you go. That's something that Tim Miller would agree with. Unfortunately, they aren't as amazing as some folk in the comments would have you believe. It's true, they tracked some scent from his car to the trailhead, though we also don't think that's the approach he took. It was hot, very hot, and by the time the dogs were there, those areas had been baking in the sun for hours. Any other shoe prints? Yeah. What about the cries for help? To correct a rumor that's floated around, only the reporting family heard the calls that night. The confirmation I gave was a location after meeting with the father and son, who remained to search for hours. At least four family members heard it, and we spent quite a while. That's pretty weird that they heard a cry for help. They heard help, and I do believe they truly did hear that sound. My personal take is they heard someone else in the distance yelling, "Philip." Yeah, that's possible. "Help! Philip!" Maybe, they need to do is get an EVP reading out there, and I think they'll be able to easily come up with something. It's also possible it was wildlife. Okay, overthinking. What's my best guess for what happened? He got dizzy from the heat, wandered into a ravine for either shade or shortcut, fell, got stuck, and either he's still there or wildlife has encountered him since. In either case, we're looking for something hard to find, harder if it's the latter. If he's in there, the bottom of the ravines, after rains, will probably be where remains will eventually turn up. Anyways, I don't know. I don't think this guy cleared up anything. I think he made it more complicated, because he gave a lot of his own opinions on, well, it could be this, could be that, could be this, and sort of made it more difficult. So maybe those of you who voted no were correct. But anyways, I gave it a shot. Yeah. I don't know what to think of that one. I mean, he went running up in this wilderness up here. So he could be, I mean, look at all the places he could be. Yeah. Seems like if you started getting heat stroke, you would just turn around before it got too bad. Anyways, I'm going to move off of this one. Kind of boring. Alright, so we're on to, I'm going to go to these cold cases now. Alright? Yeah, it's just too big of an area. Yeah, apparently he parked right over here. That's the quote staging area here. I guess it's even in a neighborhood. And then maybe from here you just start running up. I mean, who knows where he went? Who knows? Alright. So it seemed like a couple of these are pretty interesting. So I'm going back in time again. We're back in Vermont again. 1976, June. And here we go. Back to you, Jim. Alright. Woman missing for 2 weeks. Police throughout New England have been asking to be on the lookout for Marsha Lamonda, 27, of South Burlington, who has been missing for almost 2 weeks. Officials say Miss Lamonda was last seen June 30th and was reported missing by her parents a week later. Police here Thursday termed the disappearance unusual. And these ones here are really unknown. Okay, you're not going to be hearing about these anywhere, really. South Burlington woman missing since June 30th. This is about 6 days after the last article. South Burlington police are investigating what they call the mysterious disappearance of a 26-year-old woman. This is 1977. Marsha Hall Lamonda was last seen June 30th. She was reported missing on July 6th by her father, George Hall, of Airport Drive. Thanks, LM. She is described as 5'2", 100 pounds, so really tiny, with long brown hair and wears glasses most of the time. Anyone with any information is asked to call the South Burlington Police Department. So that was back in 1977, and then there was nothing. No more articles at all. Then, in 1987, 10 years later, almost to the month, August 29th, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun.
Love these cold cases.
The bones found in Charlotte this week were identified Friday as, you know, we could try it. Let me try something here. Let me go back to that. Yeah, let's try the... it's 1987. I'm even gonna put August. Oops. And then say something like bones found. And then put Vermont. I can't imagine them finding too many sets of bones. So this newspaper article was so this was August 29th, a Saturday. This week. The bones found in Charlotte this week were identified Friday. Okay, but they were found this week, so it's going to be probably after the 21st, right? So let's see. Go to about like right here. No. I don't think that's one. Let me type in. Oh, that's not going to work. Human remains found. I'm not sure why that completely removed all of that information, but we'll see. 23rd. How about skeletal remains? Skeletal remains. No. See, a lot of times it takes forever to find these little parts of a story. Could be one of these coming up. No, I don't see it. Anyways, let's just go with this. The bones found in Charlotte this week were identified Friday as those of Marsha Lamonda of South Burlington, who mysteriously disappeared in 1977. The manner or cause of her death is still unknown following 2 days of examination by a medical team led by Dr. Eleanor N. McKillen, State Chief Medical Examiner. Lamonda, who was 26 when she disappeared, was a 1969 graduate of South Burlington High School. She was reported missing July 6, 1977, by her father, who lived on Airport Drive, city police said at the time. Reports indicated she was last seen June 30th, 1977, leaving a bar on North Street in Burlington, police said. State police, let me see where that is. So we've got the folder right here. And this is North Street, Burlington. We'll just put a general pin there. And is this North? Yeah, this is North Street, so. It's probably a pretty long street, I would imagine. Yeah. That's not huge, though. It's only just that length right there. Huh. We've got these other cases. Look how close these other... Which one is this one? That was the Rita Curran, 1971. Huh. Interesting. Maybe there was a killer in the area here. Isn't that weird? That's kind of what's cool about having these pins on there. I mean, it's only 6 years later. I don't know the circumstances right now, but okay. So that's where she was last seen. She was leaving a bar. State Police Detective Lieutenant Nick. Now I want to go remember about Karan and see if she was leaving a bar. Here, hold on 1 second. Rita Karan. I just don't remember the circumstances on that one. Probably should, because it was a long, had a lot of articles on it. So that was a Milton teacher, and when you're strangled, it's hard to determine in an autopsy. You don't always break your, that little bone in your neck there. It doesn't always happen. A young elementary school teacher was found strangled to death today. Miss Curran was found partially clothed in the bedroom of her 4-room apartment on Brooks Avenue. Miss Curran was working as a chambermaid at the local Redwood Motel for the summer. I remember this one now. So she was strangled in her own apartment. Okay, so now at least we have that information while looking at this one. Alright. Everything's working really slow for some reason on here. It's not, things aren't opening up very quickly. Come on. Wow, unbelievable. Thanks, Liver D. Is that a sarcastic money face? Hey, you've got Gollum. Wow, that almost looks as bad as Beholders. Yeah, there's been a lot like that this account. Alright, anyways, so this was she was leaving a bar on North Street. State Police Detective Lieutenant Nick Ruggiero said Friday there since has been some question whether that report was accurate, so maybe she didn't leave a bar. Let me just do this show, I'll check stuff later. Yeah, you know. Yeah, I always check at the end of the show for PayPals, okay? But anyways, thanks, Christina. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see. All right. State Police Detectives Lieutenant Nick Ruggiero said Friday that there since has been some question whether that report was accurate. Ruggiero said Friday identification has been based on dental records. Lamonda suffered from Huntington's chorea, a degenerative brain disease. Police said its victims usually can live for about 20 years after contracting. I think it meant contracting is what I think they meant to say. Contracting the disease, McGillen said. She said she believes Lamonda had been diagnosed a few years before her disappearance. Lamonda had been unemployed at the time, but earlier had worked for a credit reporting company in Burlington. She was married to Kenneth Lamonda for about 5 years, but the two separated in September 1976, and both filed for divorce. Lamonda, now of Williston, said Friday the divorce was granted by Chittenden Superior Court sometime after she disappeared. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, why did they separate? Was it his idea? I mean, maybe there was some, obviously it's a homicide, though, so it's not like it's a suicide. They don't think it's a suicide. You know what I'm saying? South Burlington and State Police notified him of the positive identification about mid-afternoon. I knew it was her when two guys in white shirts walked up the driveway. He said that other times when bones were found in the county, he expected police to visit with him, some type of notification. I wasn't totally shocked, Lamonda said. She was hanging out with a bad crowd on North Street. While in high school, she participated in several activities, including chorus, the student newspaper, and business education club. Franklin County State's Attorney Howard Van Bethusian, who was a high school classmate of the victim, remembered Lamonda Friday as being a friendly person. She was a reasonably happy person. She seemed to enjoy life. The skull was found Tuesday by a neighbor walking along, Bean Road. Let's find that. Okay, so that's weird. All out here. About 3/10 of a mile from Charlotte Heinsberg Road. Okay. Charlotte. So that's Charlotte. So the first one was Bean Road, about 3/10 of a mile from the Charlotte Heinsberg Road State. Yeah, that's Bean Road. I'm kind of wondering if this road here changed over time. Now it's called Prim Road. Thanks, Zozo! Yeah, so that Bean Road is really short. I mean, it goes from right here up around, and this looks like a main highway, so I'm gonna guess that it's probably right here, 3/10 of a mile. Yeah, that's about right in that area. And let's go. We can go back in time here. Yeah, that's 1999. Yeah. So who knows what this looked like back in 1977. Hey, thanks, Thought Criminal. Yeah, when I do interviews, we're just sort of hanging out, shooting the shit, really. And I think people say more and communicate things better that way, instead of having it all regimented, right? Like, I didn't have a purpose there. It wasn't, like if somebody else landed that interview right now, they would have just tried to get everything spun back to Summer Wells, right? I just brought it up for a point there, and then, all of his stories that he tells are so interesting that if you got disappointed that it got off of that topic, then there's something wrong with you. That's the truth of it, right? Man, that's a long name there. That's almost as long as I haven't seen her in a while though, but Crystal, aka Beaver Gaming sub Crystal. Yeah. Good night, Sass Mare. How's it going, Sass Mare? It's not even late. What are you doing? Thanks, Michelle Niklaus. Franklin County State Attorney Howard Van Benthusian, who was a high school classmate of the victim, remembered Lamonda Friday as being a friendly person. The skull was found Tuesday by a neighbor walking along Bean Road, about 3/10 of a mile from Charlotte-Heinsberg Road. State police said examination later that day by the chief medical examiner's office revealed the skull was human. Other bones were found the following day during a concentrated search by the state police mobile crime laboratory. The bones were scattered in a 30-foot radius, which is common in old decomposition cases. Because of animals and whatnot. Besides checking dental records the past 2 days, a team of doctors have attempted to assemble the bones. She's estimated about half a skeleton was found scattered. Police have since returned to the scene to search for other bones or clues such as glasses Lamonda often wore. All right, bones found in Charlotte are Vermont women's. Bones on a skull found in Charlotte have been identified as those of Marsha Hall. Chief Medical Examiner Ellen McKillen said Lamonda's identity was determined through dental records. Parts of the skeleton were discovered by a person walking along Bean Road on Tuesday. The bones were scattered in a 30-foot radius, which is common in old decomposition cases. She was 26 years old. She graduated in 1969. McKillen also said Lamonda had been diagnosed and suffering from a degenerative brain disease. State Police Lieutenant Detective Nick Ruggiero said at the time of her disappearance, Lamonda had been reported last seen leaving a bar in Burlington. Okay, so that's similar to the last one. These articles are from 1987. Yeah, so this is probably very similar. Parts of the skeleton were discovered by a person walking the dog. South Burlington and State Police told Lamonda's former husband, Kenneth Lamonda of Williston, of the positive identification Friday. I knew it was her when two guys in white shirts walked up the driveway. I was totally in shock. It's always interesting when somebody dies right around a divorce like that. Well, thanks, Aaron. Lamonda investigation continuing. State and South Burlington Police are continuing their investigation into the death of Marsha Lamonda, whose remains were found last week in Charlotte 10 years after the she mysteriously disappeared. State Police Detective Lieutenant Nick Ruggiero, I haven't seen Andrea Ruggiero drum for a while either, said investigators are conducting second interviews with witnesses who may have said Lamonda shortly before she disappeared. Ruggiero said police believe Lamonda, then 26, was last seen leaving a Williston Road bar a few days before she was reported missing. There was also another report that the 1969 South Burlington High School graduate was last seen leaving a North Street bar. A Williston Road bar. Let's see where that is. Hey, thanks, Georgina Stoliker. Okay, so this is Williston Road over here. Oops. So she was found quite a ways away, way over here. It's too early to determine a cause of death from the bones that have been found. She estimated about half of a skeleton was found. Alright, so that's all there was in the paper about her. See, doesn't that just suck? You know, nothing. And that's her right there, you know. It looks like a Ted Bundy type, right? I mean, just missing. So it says Marsha Lamonda was reported missing on July 6, 1977 to the South Burlington Police Department. She was last seen on June 30th, 1977. Marsha Lamonda's body was discovered in Charlotte, Vermont, 10 years later off Bean Road. Let's go where that is. Am I in the right spot over here? Should be around in this area, I would think. No, it's not. Okay, let's see. Bean Road in this town. How could there be two Bean Roads that close to each other? So this one's totally bogus over here. I just figured it was in Burlington. Alright. So my guess wasn't going to be right. So right here. And there's the Heinsberg Road. So now it looks like she was just dumped on the side here. That makes sense. That's Heinsberg Road. That's the one. Right there. I was going to say the other one looks so populated. No street view there. Well, there's here. We can take a look down the road. So look at it. That's just a total body dump. I mean, somebody drives down here. Oh, look, a rural road. I mean, hell, it looks like down there it's even dirt. It's a dirt road down there at some point. I think you can even see it. There you go, dirt road. And then right in this area was where she was found. So probably the circumstances of where she was found is why they think it's a murder. Okay, because if she was over here leaving a bar, why was she way over there? I mean, a suicide person wouldn't be doing that. She suffered from some medical issues, but her death was not related to her medical condition. Her death was determined to be a homicide. They didn't say how, though. But I just think logistically it's a homicide, right? It's like when they always say, they find somebody without a head in their arms and they go, well, how did she die? Well, one place to start with, she doesn't have a head, you know, and maybe that's... Yes, I know what the thing is. Do we know that she wasn't dead before? And then... Okay, we're on... See, that's my sense of humor, everybody. If it's too much for you, then it's just too much. All right, I suggest watching something else. All right, so this next one is... Well, let me go to one of the shorter ones. Let's see. So someone wanted me to look up Lisa Bauer. I couldn't find much of her at all, but this is in Indiana. Okay. This is a weird one, though. You'd think there'd be... Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll take my... How long have I been on here? Oh, hour and 24 minutes. That's halftime. Halftime report. All right, thanks. Jennifer Rochelle. Yeah, it must be. Dun, dun. Yeah, I think these are, I love these cold cases like this. It's not all the rage, though, you know. If you notice, there's only 204 people. But if I had just mentioned Summer Wells in the title, I'd have 500. What I should say is not discussing Summer Wells, but here's some cold cases. There still would have been another 300 watching. What happened to Edward there? Did he say something bad? He said, wow. What happened to him? I didn't see his other comments, but... Was that an accident, or... Hey, thanks, Jennifer Rochelle. There's your little horse running around. I don't know who that is. Thank you, Tawny Lee. Oh. Oh, I see what you're saying. That other one. Not really Edward Cox. It's just, when I talk about stuff like this, it's not that, people aren't into the cold cases that much. I am. What an idiot. I didn't see that other comment. Hey, thank you guys. Thanks Tawny Lee, Sooner History, Rita Schaefer, Jennifer Rochelle.
Love the cold cases, great.
Emily Flotilla. Yeah. Also, Edward Cox, you dipshit. If I was doing drama, then sure, I'd have a lot more people. But that's not what we're doing. We're covering cases right now that aren't popular. We're not doing Summer Wells. You know that? You get that, right? Thank you, Kathy Friday Maker. Oh, look at that, Georgina Stoliker. Get hammered, huh? Get hammered, she said. I mean, it's so funny. Like, you come in here, I already know. When I was going to do this show, there wasn't going to be 400 people watching. Okay, because it's not Summer Wells, right? That's what I'm saying. When you suck the oxygen out of the room, every Tom, Dick, and Harry covering that case every single night of the week.
Get hammered.
And if you're not covering it,
tropical drink.
you get lost or left behind it. And it's, well, thanks, Aaron. Yeah, the 200 here are the freaks that actually are true crime freaks. Okay, not the just sort of myopic. Gosh, I'm just really into one case over and over and over and over again. Like, it's hilarious. Last night, we were talking about Summer Wells. There's 600 people. And then we switch topics for literally 30 seconds, and the numbers just start dwindling. I mean, they're just so like, oh, where's the next one? Who else is talking about it? I gotta keep talking about it. Yeah. You know, I hope she's found soon so that all these channels will fall right back into obscurity. Okay? That's the truth of it. You know, it's just this weird sort of gold rush for them. Nobody cares when they're talking about anything other than that case, right? Me? You like when I get frustrated? Yeah. That's what I always think is funny when they always go, Gray makes so much money off of the Delphi case. You know why they think that is because they only watch that one night of the week. Okay, we cover cases all the time, and that's why we're able to donate so much money, and that's why my channel is able to survive. Because of the generosity of the freaks. I gotta go get like some Gatorade or something. Thank you, Linda Howe. As in Linda Mold and Howe, the cattle mutilations in crop circles.
Love you freaks, sparkling heart, clinking beer mugs, beer, tumbler glass, clinking glasses.
Oh, who cares? Though we're not talking about Summer Wells. That's what I'm telling you. Thank you, Allie Cake. All right. Well, let me get back to the. Yes, this is Lisa Bowers is the next one. Thanks, Allie Cake. And thank you for the vacation. The Generous Freaks. Alright. So this is a weird ass case, right? You know what's weird about this one? It's weird as hell, and there's almost no coverage of it. Okay? Almost nothing. So listen to this. Police say they have no suspects in the bow and arrow slaying of a woman whose body was found in her apartment with an arrow lodged in her chest. Lisa Bauer's parents found her body at about 10:30 a.m. Saturday in her Carriage Place apartment. So let's see what that is. We're going to go, and this is the Bowers right here, and then we're going to go to Fort Wayne, Indiana. right there. And then it said Carriage Place Apartments, so we can get a feel for that. Carriage Place. Let me see. Is that an actual... Okay, there's Carriage Place, so I would imagine the apartments would have been... I don't know. I don't know what the name... There's Carriage House Summit. Yeah, I guess that could have been it. Thanks, Michelle Shea! I don't know. I don't know where this is right now, but... So Carriage Place... Oh yeah, see, I think it is. I think I was right. So Carriage Place is where it is, and it's lowercase a. So I think it's just there was an apartment complex on Carriage Place, although maybe it was just like somebody she rented here and called it an apartment, right? So there's Carriage Place. And this is this is only 1998. I just couldn't find any. Wow, they don't have any street view here or what? Wow, no, they don't. So on this street here, gotta get my Linus blanket music playing. Lisa Bauer's parents found her body about 10:30 a.m. Saturday in her Carriage Place apartment. Her slaying is Huntington's first homicide. That's weird because the other case had a Huntington's disease, right? I mean, just weird coincidence there. Huntington's first homicide since a teenager set a fire that killed her mother. Wow, hold on. Lisa Bauer's parents found her body at about 10:30 a.m. Saturday in her Carriage Place apartment. Her slaying is Huntington's first homicide since a teenager set a fire that killed her mother and sister in 1995. This isn't supposed to happen here, Huntington Police Chief Paul Adams said. He said Bauer, who worked at Cambridge Industries, was divorced and lived with her 12-year-old son in the complex. Police believe Bauer, 36, died Friday night. Well, then what about the 12-year-old son? I mean, where was he? Chief Deputy Prosecutor Amy Westfall said Bauer was shot in the chest with one arrow. The weapon was likely a compound bow, she said. A compound bow, usually about 3 feet long, is a bow that uses a system of pulleys to allow the operator to hold the arrow back for a long period. It's a spooky feeling, really, neighbor Jennifer Kettler said. But we don't feel real concern because it was obvious that whoever did it had her in mind. Yeah. Makes you wonder about the husband. Maybe not wanting to pay 6 more years of child support. Police say they have no suspects in the bow and arrow slaying of a woman found with an arrow lodged in her chest. Lisa Bauer's parents found her. Yeah. So this is all the same, I think. Was shot once with a... Okay, there was some little different information. That spooky feeling. Kettler shared an apartment wall with Bauer. She said she never heard any noise. That's exactly right, because a compound bow doesn't make any noise. Not even a loud stereo, she said. She didn't hear anything Friday night either. Some craziness out there, you guys. I mean... And these are just unsolved. Family of woman killed by crossbow 20 years ago, still seeking justice. This is a 2008.
Bauer still desperate
2018
for answers after their
2018 article here.
Daughter was killed 20 years ago. A family is still desperate for answers after their daughter was killed 20 years ago.
36-year-old Lisa Bauer was found dead with a crossbow arrow through her chest. News Channel 15's Sarah Schaefer talked with the family today. She joins us now with their plea 2 decades later in this exclusive interview. Sarah.
At the time of Bauer's death, it was too hard for the family to talk, and even today, 20 years later, it wasn't easy. Bauer was found in her Huntington apartment with a crossbow arrow through her chest. Police didn't find signs of forced entry. I talked with her sisters and her mother today. They said she didn't have any enemies and had no idea who would do this. She was a single mother, and they said she worked hard to take care of her son, who was just 12 at the time of her death. Bauer was supposed to head out of town the day she was found with her youngest sister, but she never showed up. So her parents went to her apartment, and that's where they made the gruesome discovery. Her mother says it's something that still haunts her to this day.
We opened the door that morning and walked in. I'd never have anybody else experience such an awful, awful feeling to walk in and find your kid laying there in the blood.
The Huntington police handled the case, but they never found enough evidence to hand it over to.
Yes, I don't think I have the right apartment, because that's an actual apartment building. I don't see it on that street.
To the prosecutor's office. At that time, the current prosecutor was the deputy prosecutor. She told me the Huntington police
experience such an awful, awful feeling to walk in and find your kid laying there in the blood.
The Huntington police handled the case, but they never found enough evidence to hand it over to the prosecutor's office. At that time, the current prosecutor was the deputy prosecutor. She told me the case, quote, plagued her professionally and personally. I'll have more from her and Bauer's sisters, who say they just want justice, coming up at 6, plus how her now 32-year-old son is handling the tragedy.
I think there's another one. I thought there was a part 2 down there, but oh, it's your birthday, Kit Kat, huh? Awesome. So, hey, Mary Lou, you gonna do Kit Kat's birthday or what? Hello, Mary Lou, Mary Lou, Mary Lou.
What, Grady? I was sleeping.
What, you're not watching my show? What the hell's going on with you?
Well, I don't always watch every second of it. Sometimes I just,
Oh, wow. Okay, anyways. Sing happy birthday for Kit Kat.
Get a wave going. Party popper,
all right.
Confetti ball, party popper, confetti ball, party popper, confetti ball.
What are you doing? What are you doing, Mary Lou?
I'm just trying to train my voice so I can do a really good version for Kit Kat, okay?
Oh, boy. All right. Thanks, everybody. Here we go. All right, Mary Lou, you ready?
Yes, I am.
Oh, man, you're just a drama queen now.
Shut up, Grady. Happy birthday to Kit Kat. Happy birthday, dear Kit Kat. Happy birthday, dear Kit Kat. Happy birthday to you.
And many more.
Hey, thanks, John Bowie.
Hey, good job there. You kind of lost it a little bit on your when you tried to hold it. It just kind of went, nah, you know. But
well, I tried my best, Grady.
What are you crying about?
I don't know. Good point.
Yeah. Anyways, happy birthday, Kit Kat. All right. Good times. Good times. How old are you now? About 28? Because you don't look a day over 27. You know what I'm saying? Wow, you don't look a day over 45, Kit Kat. plus, because I'm not quite yet. Only half. That's right. Pretty much lizard eye there, right, Emily Flotilla? Yeah. Thank you, Georgina Stoliker. Anyways, thank you guys. Thank you, Georgina Stoliker, D&K Rec, Amber Maiden, in honor of Kit Kat's birthday, Liver D, Emily Flotilla, and it's my birthday. Can we get a wave going? What a thoughtful. Thank you very much. So tomorrow night, do you guys like? Let me ask you something. So tomorrow night we're gonna be able to probably donate 1,000 or something, hopefully, because we've already done 2,500. But do you guys kind of like doing it throughout the month a little bit? Just I sort of like it, you know, like you're able to give to various cases that sort of match something that we're talking about. I know it doesn't make the last night as big, but hopefully it doesn't change how you guys, you know, like, because the last night's what makes it so that I can actually do it. I've been donating way more. It's like, when I do the math, sometimes it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but got to do what we got to do, you know? This DNA fund. I mean, it's weird because even without the DNA fund, we wouldn't even be doing that bad. We'd be at like just a little bit less than last year, but the DNA fund was 13,000 something. 13.5. What was what question? So let's see what the article here says. 20 years later, Lisa Bauer's mother thinks her daughter's death constantly. After Bauer didn't meet her sister for a planned trip out of town, their parents went to her apartment in Huntington. They walked only to find her body. They walked in only to find her body with a crossbow arrow through her chest. I mean, could you imagine being a parent to see that? We opened the door that morning and walked in. I never have anybody else experienced such an awful. I'd never have anybody else experience such an awful feeling to walk in and find our kid laying there in blood. Police never found enough evidence to send it to the prosecutor's office. Huntington County Prosecutor Amy Richardson was the deputy prosecutor at the time. She said the case has stayed with her. My hope would be that sometime we have enough evidence to solve the case. It's a painful, bizarre memory, and that hasn't left the minds of Bauer's two sisters either. Everything from that day I can remember just like it was yesterday. The family said the only progress they've made is forgiveness. You learn to grieve. I've forgiven whoever did it because that's the Christian thing to do. Well, I could never do that. I just miss her. The sisters hope for justice for family, especially their parents. They're not getting any younger, and I just feel they should have some closure, which doesn't exist. The family is holding on to the little bit of hope they still have left, with Lisa always on their mind and in their hearts. My sister was only the sweetest. My sister was one of the sweetest people on earth. She deserves justice. She really does. Somebody got to know something. We'd love to get this solved for my parents and the whole family. Bauer's son, 12 years old at the time of her death, he said it was a tough road, but he has moved on. But where was he during it? You know, if they lived together at home, where was he during the... You know, I don't think he was the one that did it, but, you know, he's a great witness. And basically, here's the like a genealogy thing, and this is her obituary. She was 36. She worked as a quality control at Eagle Pitcher Plastics. It has the name of their family. So this is where you can do like genealogy research on stuff like that. I thought somebody was going to send me some information on Wally Gator. I haven't seen it. So you guys have seen him around, huh? It's weird that he would just bail. Probably have to remove him as a moderator then. Well, it's obviously somebody that knew her went in and killed her. The bow and arrow was used so it wouldn't make any noise. But it's obviously a personal deal. I mean, nobody... It's got to... I don't know. It just always seems like when you're... People you look at first are people you... if you've been divorced, you might look at the husband first. I don't know. That's a weird one. There's almost so little information. Alright, so I'm going to move on to another one. This is one from the other night that I never got to. Rosalind Missouri, I think. Not really sure exactly how to say it. I had this one all mapped out. This one's weird too. I don't know what that means, Janie. What does that even mean? Officer's daughter found. The daughter of a Natchitoches police officer was found floating in Cane River Thursday morning by a motorist who saw her body from a bridge, according to the, let's just call it Nat Parish Sheriff Norm Fletcher. The body of Rosalind Missouri, daughter of City Police Corporal Walter Missouri, was recovered by Nat Parish authorities at about 9 a.m. According to Fletcher, the 26-year-old woman was last seen at about 11 p.m. Tuesday. She had not been reported missing, Fletcher said. Let me go to this location. This is in Louisiana, so it's not in Vermont anymore. It's kind of weird. Some of this stuff made some sense. Fletcher said Miss Missouri's body was seen by a motorist. Let's see. Missouri's body has been sent to Caddo Parish coroner Dr. George McCormick for an autopsy. Authorities are investigating the death of 26-year-old woman whose body was found floating in Cane River Lake. Rosalind M. Missouri died 24 to 36 hours before her body was recovered at 8:30 a.m. Thursday in Cane River Lake near Natchez. Miss Missouri is the daughter of Natchitoches Police Corporal Walter Missouri. You kind of almost think it's related to that. Let's just move on to the new story here. Her body was transported to Bossier City, where an autopsy will be performed. The cause of death has not been determined, the sheriff's spokesman said. Let's see. Natchitoches woman whose body was found floating in Cane River Lake last week, may have been murdered. We are not ruling out homicide. We're still investigating, checking out everything we can just in case it was a homicide. The body of Rosalind Missouri, 26, was found at about 8:30 a.m. Thursday, floating in Cane River Lake near Natchez. Her car was found parked near a club in Natchitoches, about 6 or 7 miles from where her body was discovered. Fletcher said a pathologist report should tell whether Miss Missouri was murdered. Results from the report were not in on Monday. Miss Meziere was last seen at 10:45 p.m. Wednesday when she left her home to go to work, Fletcher said. She worked a late shift at a hospital. She never arrived for work Wednesday night. When deputies discovered her body Thursday morning, Miss Meziere was wearing a maroon hospital shirt, hospital pants, and sneakers. So when they found her, she was wearing her maroon shirt, hospital pants, and the sneakers she wore for work. Fletcher said he saw the body and noted no visible signs to indicate she had been beaten or harmed. Fletcher said it looks odd. Her body was found in Cane River and her car was parked somewhere else. Well, yeah. When her body was first discovered, deputies searched Cane River for her vehicle. That makes it suspicious, so we still treat it as such. We'll see what the pathologist report comes up with. Death probe remains on hold in Natchitoches. An investigation into the possible murder of a woman remained on hold Tuesday while the sheriff's office awaited an autopsy. The body of Rosalind Meziere, 26, was found at about 8:30 a.m. Thursday floating in Cane River Lake near Natchez. Her car was found parked near a club. Miss Meziere was last seen at 10:45 p.m. Wednesday when she left home for work, according to Fletcher. She was scheduled to work a late shift at Natchitoches Parish Hospital, but never arrived for work. When deputies discovered her body Thursday morning, Fletcher said there were no visible signs. I guess that's similar. Then 2 days after that, remained in the dark nearly 4 weeks while waiting for an autopsy report. 2 weeks. Oh, this is actually in October, so a month later. 2 weeks after receiving that report, investigators still don't know how Missouri died. According to parish investigator Luther Lee, Caddo Parish Coroner George McCormick ruled Missouri's death as a probable drowning. Okay, well, maybe she was unconscious when she was put in the water, but there's no way in hell she ended up over there. Let me show you what this looks like. Her car was abandoned right next to this. It was actually just down on this road near this Bayo Jacko Club here, right? So that's where her car was seen. And then her body is found. Look how weird this is, though. See, her body was found by this bridge, and her father lives right there. The corporal. I think that's just a little too coincidental. That she's found right off of this bridge in the water right there. And her car's over here. This is where she was supposed to go to work. Right there. Her car's found over here. And he had another address the father did there, but this is the one that makes the most sense. Right there. Right next to each other. Missouri's body was found floating in Cane River September 15th. Man. Lee said another possibility was that bruises were caused when the young woman hit the water. I'm laughing because my wife's over there just rummaging through a bunch of stuff. Hey, thank you, Janie Sue Dubs. let's see. The report speculated that 26-year-old daughter of Natchitoches police officer Corporal Walter Meziere was involved in some sort of altercation, knocked unconscious, then thrown into the river. Lee said another possibility was that the bruises were caused when the young woman hit the water. So there was bruises under the skin on the right side of the young woman's neck. I don't know. What if she was strangled to unconsciousness, or manually, and passed out, then thrown in the water, and before she had a chance to wake up, she inhaled water and drowned. Police are treating the death as a homicide, but the lack of firm cause of death is hurting the investigation. It affects your interrogation, Lee said. We're going from an autopsy report that speculates she was in an altercation, and we're centering our interrogation around that assumption, when in actuality the bruises could have been caused when she hit the water. Yeah, I can see how that's, I don't know. I think it's a little tough to bruise your neck falling into the water, because your head is bigger, your shoulders are there. There wouldn't be direct impact of water on your neck. I think that's kind of a weird assumption there. So this is her right there. Let's see. The body was recovered, identified as 26-year-old Rosalind Missouri. According to the parish, just after 8 a.m., September 15, 1988, they were notified by a fisherman of a body floating in the Cane River near Pratt Bridge. That's that bridge I showed you, south of Natchitoches. Deputies responded to the scene, and NPSO detectives and then Natchitoches coroner Dr. Charles Cook recovered Missouri's body. Shortly after 4 p.m. the same day Missouri's body was recovered, detectives, her car, blue 1985 Buick sedan, abandoned on Brendan Street near the Bayou Jacko Club. An autopsy performed by then Bossier City forensic pathologist, the late Dr. George McCormick II, determined the cause of death as possible drowning. Also found, however, was minor trauma to Missouri's face, suggesting she had been in a recent altercation. It is possible that when she was struck in the face, she was rendered unconscious and was placed into the river by an unknown assailant. NPSO detectives began an intensive investigation and, assisted by Natchitoches police detectives, interviewed family members, friends, and community members in an effort to build a timeline and leads in the suspicious case. Detectives learned Missouri was last seen at approximately 10:45 September 13th, leaving for work to go to the Regional Medical Center. The case has remained open for 33 years with few leads until recent new information has come to light, according to Chief Deputy Greg Dunn. Now, see, this is an article from 2 days ago. Interesting. At the time of her death, Missouri had 2 children. Now detectives are reviewing the Missouri case and asking the public for any information or help that could assist in investigators in solving the case. Due to the sensitivity of the case, no other information will be released. So it sounds like they might be onto something here. Yeah, I think it's basically the same article there. So there you go, that's it. But hopefully something will come about. But that's, look how cold these cases are that I'm bringing up. They're insane. Nothing. I know this is one of my old school shows, but I need one of these. I actually find them more interesting, you know, because you're able to read articles about the facts in a case. But look we're only down to 179. You know what I should do as an experiment? Put Summer Wells at the very front of the title and see what happens. You guys think that would be a good experiment? I think it'd be kind of funny. No, you just put it up there to see if people, because it's just so weird how they just do that. Oh yeah, no more experiments. Well, it wouldn't have been. It's not about her. I just want to see if it's a reality, because I know it is. You know, I know it is. All right, I've got one more here. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Rainbow. So this is Joan Rogers here, 1977. This one's kind of another strange one because there's another person here. This is also in Vermont. Now we're back to Vermont again. Right, it's done out with 2,000, and as soon as you bring something else, they drop like flies. I don't know what it is. That just drives me nuts, you know, that people are like that. All right, so Joan Rogers is who we're going to be talking about now. Might have about an hour left here, so see what happens. Yeah, me too. Well, I like these the most, to be honest with you. Hardwick resident dies of strangling. 2 possible homicides within 24-hour period have rocked the 2,500 residents of the Caledonia County community of Hardwick. Dead are Joan Rogers, 39, found Sunday in a field in Hardwick town, the apparent victim of a strangulation. Bernard E. Ewan, 64, found Saturday in his Hardwick Village apartment with bruises and marks around his face and neck. Vermont State Police and Hardwick police were tight-lipped Sunday night concerning both cases. Both promised more information today. Autopsies conducted by Dr. Eleanor McKillen, Assistant Chief Medical Examiner, showed Mrs. Rogers died from strangulation. The exact cause of Ewan's death was not immediately known, and secondary tests will be conducted. Mrs. Rogers was reported missing Saturday by her father, Clayton Gray, according to Deputy State's Attorney John Everett, who said her body was found by neighbors. Mrs. Rogers had recently been living with her father after separating from her husband, Earl, according to the officials. See that? And then, I mean, don't you guys find it odd that there's a lot of these unsolved cases, but they all seem to have a similarity, that they just got divorced or, you know, got out of a relationship. I mean, that can't be coincidental. There's so many of these. Some obviously are coincidental. Miss Rogers had recently been living with her father after separating from her husband. Everett and Dr. McKillen were called to the scene to assist the state police, who were notified about 10:15 Sunday morning. Dr. McKillen was in Burlington conducting an autopsy on Ewan when summoned to Hardwick for the second time. Ewan was found about 2:45 Saturday afternoon by a neighbor. His apartment is one of about 20 units in the Bemis Block building owned by, let's see what that is. So this is in Why are you guys still talking about Summer Wells? Man, you guys. Man, unreal. Let's see. I mean, give it a break one day at least, right? We'll probably have something tomorrow, right? Bemis Block Building. So was it Bemis? Is that a street? No. What does that mean? Bemis Block Building. No, nothing. Thanks, beholder, vomit face. Yeah, that was a joke, though, LM. Not to bring up so you can sit there and talk about it for another 30 minutes. Okay? It was a joke. As an experiment. Oi. Oi indeed. Oi indeed. What's the timer for? I don't get it. Yeah, me too. Alright. His apartment is one of about 20 units in the Bemis Block building, owned by William Hill of Hardwick. In both cases, the state police mobile crime lab was summoned to assist Hardwick Village and town police and state police detectives from St. Johnsbury Barracks. Alright. And the next one. Alright, state police said Tuesday they have leads in one of the two weekend murders here, but they are still stumped by the second murder. Investigators are still assuming the murders are not connected. John Everett, Caledonia County State Attorney, said the leads in the murder of Bernard D. Ewan, 64, are just plain leads, and he declined to elaborate. Everett said no leads have been developed in the murder of Joan Rogers, 39. Both victims were believed murdered late Friday night or early Saturday morning. Ewan's body, thank you, beholder, Ewan's body was discovered Saturday afternoon and Rogers was found Sunday morning. The murders have spread fear throughout this Caledonia County farming community. It is kind of strange that you had two strangulations in a town of 2,500 people. I think mathematically that's pretty low odds. The two deaths are apparently unrelated, but the two dead people both died from strangulation. Dr. Eleanor McKillen, the state assistant's medical examiner, examined the bodies part of Sunday and all of Monday before reaching her decision. She said neither person offered much resistance to their assailant, an observation she made after examining beneath their fingernails. That's lame too. You don't always get something under your fingernails when you're fighting somebody off. You know, maybe women, probably a little better chance with them because they might try to like grab and they have fingernails, but a guy is, that doesn't mean they didn't put up a resistance. Maybe the guy tried to punch, hit him on the clothing, and nothing happened to his hand or anything. Let's see. Rogers, 39, was found in the grassy corner of a hayfield on land she and her husband rented. Oh, wow. From a New Jersey family. Rogers was found at 10:15 a.m. Sunday by Willie Wilford McAllister, a farmhand formerly employed by Rogers. The village and town, which has more than 2,500 people with 1,500 living in the village, were shocked at the twin murders. Yeah. Unfortunately, it didn't say eye gouging, beholder. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Ewan, who was separated from his wife. Well, that's kind of weird. He's separated from his wife, and 39-year-old separated from her husband, right? Or am I thinking of the previous story? We've covered so many of them. I think that was, she is separated. Yeah. So he's separated from his wife, and that's kind of strange. Ewan, who was separated from his wife, who lived in Woodbury, did odd jobs in the area. He was described as a leaner by one resident. There is a simmering feud between... I don't know what that means. Talking about apartments. Rogers' death has not alarmed the rural residents as much as Ewan's did the villagers. One farm woman said, "I'm not going to lock my doors at night. She was killed by someone who knew her, and the person does not know me." Miss Rogers and her husband, Earl, owned their average farm on... Wait, I thought... Okay, so she wasn't... Though she was separated, though, right? Miss Rogers and her husband, Earl, owned their average farm on Houston Hill, a majestic dairy country above the village. Let's see if that's still here. Yeah, there it is. I could see this being in this area. That's Houston Hill Road. So somewhere around in that area. In May, Mrs. Rogers said she was going to file for a divorce. Neighbors said she had already filed before her death. And that might be why she's not alive, right? Miss Rogers, who left her husband... What do you think, LM? Miss Rogers, who left her husband to live with her father, Clayton Gray, in the village, returned to the farm each day to do chores and cook for her husband and two teenage sons. Friday night, Miss Rogers was supposed to pick up her sons at a local movie theater, but failed to do so. So that was Friday night. Her father reported her missing to neighbors Saturday morning. Lawson said he was called at 8 p.m. Saturday and immediately called the state police. She was last seen around 9 p.m. Friday. A search party was never formed, and people in the area of the farm began to look on their own for Mrs. Rogers. Her body, which had a pile of clothes neatly stacked next to it. Oh boy. That sounds like some of the other ones that we've talked about. Why would that happen? So that means she was nude then. It was approximately 40 feet from the pickup she used since she had left her husband. Wow, her body, which had a pile of clothes neatly stacked next to it, was approximately 40 feet from the pickup she used since she had left her husband. She apparently was not sexually assaulted. The truck was in a gully. Ah, jeez. Come on. This guy's... You know, you can't even say the name of the idiot that just showed up. Yeah, just block them every single time. You don't even have to ask to hide those types of comments. Those people. Wow, he has a whole bunch of accounts with the same name. Probably. So 40 feet from the pickup. So she was found 40 feet from the pickup she's using since their divorce or separation. But her clothes were stacked neatly next to her, but she apparently wasn't assaulted. I don't know about that. It is unclear if Mrs. Rogers was pushed from the truck or if she was taken from the truck and placed on the ground, authorities said. It is also unclear how the truck wound up 40 feet from the body. Everett said the truck is... I think the biggest question is how are her clothes stacked neatly next to her. Everett said the truck is at the state police barracks. Rogers' body was found at about a mile from her farm. The town road leading to the field is extremely rutted and little traveled. A logging road bisects the field and leads to dense woods. The entire field, except for a gully and glade, have been hayed once this summer. State police investigators Corporal John Shanks spent Monday going from farm to farm, speaking with people about the murder. He was assisted by Alfred Zeke. Everett said no arrests have been made in either case, and I don't expect any to be made quickly. Weird shit. Robbery seen as motive in Hardwick deaths. Robbery may have been a motive for one of two homicides here last weekend, according to state police. According to something Bernard Ewan, 64, was last seen Friday night when he cashed a check for $138 at a local grocery. The next day, Ewan was found choked to death. But the thing is it seems like it would be somebody that knew him. Why would you have to choke somebody to death? You know, it's like you must know the person. Although he would not elaborate, Lay said Tuesday robbery is being considered in Ewan's case. However, he said he has no motive for the strangulation. Medical authorities said Mrs. Rogers was strangled by her bra, but said there was no evidence of sexual assault. Well, listen, there was sexual motivation there, okay? The woman's partially clad body was discovered Sunday morning in a hayfield. Lay said he is investigating leads, but said there's no evidence to indicate the homicides are connected. So for some reason, you know, they don't really cover these separately. They're always connected. Okay, so this is 3 days after that. A secret inquest was held here Friday regarding the murder of Hardwick last weekend of Joan Rogers, according to sources. The inquest, an investigative tool used by a state attorney to obtain statements from witnesses under oath, would appear to be the first indication of progress in the investigation by state police of the strangulation death of Mrs. Rogers. Her body was found Sunday morning in a field in Hardwick. The state police examiner has ruled Miss Rogers, 39, was strangled by her bra. State police Friday reported no progress into the investigation of the strangling death of Bernard Ewan. State police said earlier this week they had uncovered no leads in Mrs. Rogers' murder. However, other officials working on the case seem to believe the two murders were perpetrated by different people. Yeah. Police investigators are also convinced the two victims knew their murderers. Yeah, I totally can see that. That's why would you kill somebody for taking their money? Police investigators are also convinced especially strangling. See, that's personal. You know, the both techniques here are, it takes 5 minutes. So that means you really hated this person. It's like when it's basically right up there with stabbing somebody. Ewan was the victim of a manual strangulation. That means with hands, like literally going like this. In his apartment dwelling in the Bemis Block building, Rogers was strangled with a brazier and found in a hayfield that she and her husband Earl Rogers had rented. Police said of more than 100 persons interviewed, 3 had taken polygraph tests. One of the tests was given to a woman. Interesting. Huh. Police emphasized Friday that everybody they talked to with was considered a suspect. Wow. Police emphasized Friday that everybody they talked with was considered a suspect. Police who indicated they were optimistic the killers would be found said more polygraph tests would be given. So far, police have determined that the motive for the Ewan killing was robbery. Ewan was robbed of $150, according to Chilton. Police still did not have a motive for the Rogers murder. Chilton said that a week later, there remained in the town a paranoid feeling. He said, however, that few persons were buying guns for protection. A lot of the people here already own guns, he said. The dual murder apparently occurred within 24 hours of each other and have created an air of tension in the northern Vermont community. I mean, that just seems so bizarre that you have 2 strangulation murders within 24 hours in a town of 2,500 people. Not saying it can't happen, but, a little weird. One of the local investigators trying to solve the 2 murders which occurred here a little more than a week ago said Saturday he has a feeling something will develop in the Joan Rogers homicide. Rogers, 39, this is just a day after that last article, was strangled here last weekend in what officials say are unconnected death. Andrews said much of the work in both murders, but especially Rogers, involves asking people who knew her or knew someone who knew her why anyone would kill her. Relatives are quizzed and people are asked if they have ever heard of anyone make verbal threats on Rogers' life. Paul Hudson, an assistant state attorney general who attended the inquest, explained Saturday the Attorney General's office is required to attend such proceedings. Hudson said Vermont is one of 2 states which provides for such and inquiry. Gray, look at that. I think that's the guy's last name, but Gray, exercising his legal prerogative, called for the session. Early 20s, similar older are troublesome. Asked if the person who killed Ewan could have been a member of the Element. I guess that's a gang. He refused to speculate. He said, like the other officers involved, he has his theories on how Ewan was murdered. More than $130 was missing from Ewan's room after his body was discovered, and officials think his killer took the money after murdering him. But see, that's the thing, is that could have just been an opportunity theft at that point, right? It doesn't mean that he was killed for the money. But they are uncertain if the murderer actually intended to kill Ewing. One officer thought the killer might have hit or grabbed Ewing when he interrupted the robbery, but the action was too severe and Ewing died. Well, but he was strangled, right? That doesn't add up. Yes, this is September that year. So it happened in July. This is September. Looks like it's pretty similar stuff. Let me get to a little later. Oh, there you go. So this is the deep concerns linger after rural slaying. So I guess that's what it looked like. Hardwick's Bemis block scene of one slaying. I wonder if it's just, like, if I zoom in here, is that something that, if we went down to the main street, would it just be right here? Because it looked, oh shit, that almost looks like it right there. Let's just see if I turn around. Hold on. Oh, look at that. That's a boom. Look at that shit right there. Can I get a boom? Man, that one's just absolutely like just walking down the street, turn around, and there it is. Just guessing it's on the main street, and my God, that was about the quickest one you could ever get. You got that building right there. All this is the same. I think that's where the, let's see. Folks in these parts are not buying door locks at Abokin's hardware store. They are not stocking up on ammunition. And residents admit they go about their business sometimes wondering whether Hardwick can be all that different from larger communities. 7 weeks after 2 killings, Bemis block scene of one slaying. So this is where one of the slayings was. I think it was, I don't know if it was in here or right there. Looks like maybe it was an apartment at one point, and then, man, it hasn't changed at all. I mean, look at even this is the same over here. But I guess that was only 1977. That's this building right there. I'm just going to put Ewing on the ground there. Thanks, Lil Andy. I said robbery is the motive in his death, but I don't know if you can really say that. Couldn't they have gone in there to kill him and then just took the $130 that was sitting on top of a table, probably? So about 15 hours after Ewing was found, the partially clothed body of Mrs. Joan Rogers, 39, who recently had separated from her husband, was found about a half mile from her father's farmhouse. Miss Rogers was more of a loner. I'm going to go to 1978, April, so now we're 6 months later. There is little chance 2 strangulation murders that occurred here on the weekend of July 16th will be solved, Caledonia County State Attorney Dale Gray said Sunday. Well, come on, Gray. You gotta do better than that. Thanks, beholder vomit face. I don't think they'll ever solve it, Gray said, adding that usually if a homicide remains a mystery after 3 days of investigation, it will go unsolved. Gray sounded that pessimistic note, even though police have 2 prime suspects in the murders, according to him. Interesting. The suspects, both from the Hardwick area, cannot be apprehended, however, because of insufficient evidence, Gray said. He said the investigation was not being pursued actively anymore. The state attorney said he still believed the 2 murders were unrelated, despite the fact they occurred within a day or so of each other. Strangled were Bernard D. Ewan, 64, and Joan Rogers, 39, both of Hardwick, in what authorities termed a staggering coincidence. Okay, yeah. I mean, I said the same thing. I think that's mind-boggling. So they're saying staggering coincidence. That's true. I mean, if it is a coincidence, it is staggering. And that's where you sort of go, well, what are the... It's almost so staggering that you can't... I mean, I don't see them being related, but at the same time, it's too crazy. 2,500 people. Strangled were Bernard D. Okay, Rogers, who recently had filed for divorce, was strangled with a brazier. I wonder if she was seeing somebody else and the ex-husband found out about that. She was found the morning of July 17th, a Sunday, in a field a mile from the farm and her husband owned. That she and her husband owned. I thought they were renting it though. Ewan was manually strangled the morning of July 16th in his apartment. Police had a better idea of Ewan's timeline death because across the apartment hallway, his moaning was heard to have stopped at about 5:30 a.m. Police suspected larceny in the evening killing because reportedly he was robbed of $130, part of a check he had cashed at the local grocery store. But see, if the cash was just sitting out on the counter and somebody went there to kill him, wouldn't they just grab that anyways? Like, oh shit, here's 100. Initially, police had a large number of suspects, so they called in Dr. John Heiss, Jr., a Burlington doctor who has used hypnosis, truth serum, and lie detection equipment for the past 5 years to assist police in solving cases. Heiss Sunday said, "I spent all summer up there in Hardwick narrowing down the field of suspects and establishing a time of death for Rogers. The original estimate was inaccurate by many hours," Heiss said. "The body was not discovered soon enough. Because it was outside and exposed, the Rogers body was warm enough to convince investigators the murder had taken place later than it did." Heiss said. The murder sent waves of paranoia through this tiny town. Although many residents already had guns for hunting, some who did not bought them, and almost everyone, it was reported, locked their doors at night, a practice they were not accustomed to. I always think that that's weird, don't you guys? Like, who didn't lock their doors? I mean, I've never even when we thought life was safer, I don't remember not locking the door at night. That just seems crazy. Like, why have a door? Hey, get rid of your door. Just put a screen door on there and just... Yeah. Doesn't look like we're talking about this case. Maybe I'll move on to let's see, what do we got here? I don't think I have any more anyways. We got one more page here. July of that year, so. This is 1 year later, and this is about all they did. There was no more coverage of it. The rural community of Hardwick was shocked a year ago when 2 people were strangled within 12 hours of each other in what officials assert were unrelated murders. Bernard D. Ewan, a 64-year-old retired handyman, was strangled, presumably in the midst of a robbery in his tenement apartment in the village early in the morning on July 16th. His body was discovered by 2 friends that afternoon. Joan Rogers, 39, was found strangled the morning of July 17th in a field near the farm she operated with her husband Earl. Rogers was discovered by a former hired man employed by the couple. She is thought to have been murdered late in the night of the 15th or early the next morning. Rogers, who had filed for divorce from her husband, had been living in the village but working days on the farm. No one has been charged with either crime, although Trooper Wayne Dyer, an investigator attached to the office of Caledonia County State Attorney Dale Gray, said Monday, "We have a good suspect in the Rogers case, but we do not have enough evidence to bring anyone to court." Asked to describe the status of both cases, Dyer calmly said, "They are unsolved murders." He added there was not much evidence to go on in either case. You know, they should, hopefully they still have that bra, they could go test it. Let's see. How much evidence to go on? Dyer said the first few weeks of the investigation, we were busy squelching rumors about would-be murders by checking out false lead after lead. We never really had much to go on. Gray said Monday, the cases are still open, but I am unaware of any new developments in either one. Michael Lawson, the Hardwick Village Police Chief, said Monday, there is nothing new in either case. Lawson, who has concentrated his efforts on the Ewan murder, said the case is not being actively pursued, but every day someone in the village asks me something about it. Like Dyer, Lawson said there is a definitive suspect in one case, but he refused to disclose which case he was referring to. Well, I think they said that earlier. Lawson said, just as he did a year ago, I think the cases, if they are ever solved, will be solved because of conscience. He explained, I think both murderers live around here. Every day they have to think about what they did. Someday it might get to them. The police chief said William Hill, owner of the tenement where Ewan... Wait, did it skip over from here? Or get to them. The police chief said William Hill, owner of the tenement where Ewan lived, has improved the building since the murder. Alfred Zeke Andrews, police chief for the town of Hardwick and Greensboro, said Monday, I really have no hope the cases will be solved. I check out rumors once in a while. He has concentrated on the Rogers case. I also think about the Rogers murder when I go up the Houston Hill Road past the farm, which was found about a half mile as the crow flies from the farm. Andrews said Miss Rogers sold the farm this spring and moved to the village with his 2 teenage sons. Andrews added, in the old days, I think we would have brought someone to the court in on one of the cases, leaving little doubt he was referring to Rogers' incident. Yeah, sounds like they're interested in the husband. But he noted now lawyers get orders telling us to leave possible suspects alone, and it is hard for the state attorney to build a case. Andrews said people mention the cases to him, very seldom. Yesterday someone reminded me the murders occurred a year ago. The police chief said things are back to normal in the village and town since last summer's frightening weekend. Yeah. And so, look at this is all there is on their website. Joan Rogers was found deceased lying in a field in Hardwick, Vermont. Her death was determined to be a homicide. So I went out and found the newspaper articles to make it actually, you know, I mean, this right here, you can't get any context or anything. You know, at least now we see the area a little bit. We, you know the circumstances. Clothes piled up, partially unclothed. And her truck was 40 feet away, that kind of thing. None of that was in here. But if you know anything about it out there, you can call, what is it, VTips. Or, you send a text to VTips or 274-637-CRIMES. I don't know how to do texts like that, the ones that are the 6-digit ones. Yeah. And so the way I found that was this. See, I'm kind of going through this list right here. I don't need anybody's help. Hey, great, check this one out, that kind of thing. But like on this one right here, it's her name was listed on here. See, Bernard E. Ewan, and then Joan Rogers right there. So that was it. I saved this article out because it had a whole bunch of unsolved murders in it. So I saw that. Found that one little tiny reference online, and then went and found all the newspaper articles. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of cases out there that are just like that literally have no exposure whatsoever because, well, first of all, they're not, they weren't put into the real popular track, and secondly, the information on them isn't just right there online or something. You have to literally go look through these newspaper articles. So, anyways, I think that's it, you guys. All right, went through a shitload of stuff tonight. Hopefully you found it interesting. I think it's always interesting to go over these old ones. Feels kind of odd that there's just nothing at all on these cases. It's just they're out there, unsolved. Nobody's talking about them. There's almost no chance. I think if they still had the evidence, like the stack of clothing and the brassiere, and they put those in a bag, there's a really good chance that touch DNA would be on, because the person handled those clothing to stack them. They really grabbed onto the bra, which would get definitely some, hell, even some skin cells inside of that while the strangulation was happening. And if they had those, then there's a chance that they could solve Joan Rogers' case with that one. I wonder if they have. Maybe I'll check in on that one. Because that one might just be buried so deep somewhere nobody's even thinking about it. And it'd be interesting to say, hey, is anybody still working on the Joan Rogers case? Do you guys have any of that evidence, like the brassiere, any of the clothing in an evidence bag? And if so, why don't you guys send it off to the FBI and see if they can extract some DNA? And also, wouldn't that be cool too then to say, well, do you guys have the funding? And if you don't, we'll pay for the genetic genealogy in that case. Does that sound good? Yep, I'm going to go try to play tomorrow, Scott Holland. Yeah, so anyways, I might try to call on that one on Monday. So if you haven't heard me say anything, remind me of that one. Joan Rogers. I think Lisa Bauer's one is not Lisa Bauer's. I think it's Marsha Lamonda. That one's tough because she was missing for 10 years. Then they found her bones. Nah, I got a 79 last week. And it was the worst possible round that I could shoot. So I guess we'll see tomorrow, see what happens. Just got to put everything together. My friend shot a 73, and I was like, you bastard. That was his best round he ever shot. It's always good if you can get like 3 or 4 birdies. That makes a big difference. Yeah, no problem, no problem. I'm so tired. Oh yeah, let's see. There's a whole live on Summer Wells right now. Now there's this new guy, he's got like a Scottish accent. Oh man, he's just the best. It's just crazy, man. What the hell's going on? Oh my god. It's unreal. It's a modern gold rush. Modern gold rush. Hey, but look at that. We're at 60,820 right now, everybody. 820 since the... and I think a lot of it was the interview with Tim Miller got a lot of people. I thought that was a pretty good one. Now, does it say that on my... If I go to this one? Yeah, right there. 6820 up there below. Freaks up at the top there. Yeah, we just screw it all. You're making a cheeseburger this late at night? Man. Awesome. Drama must remain on the stage. It's funny because it only says 60.7 on my page, but that can't be correct because it should be 60.8. It just hasn't updated yet, I guess. Alright, there we go.
Thank you to Emily Flotilla with a cat eye donation. Liberty, Jessica Schubach, Allie Cake, Rita Schaefer, Connie Lee, Shelly Ann, Janine Shaffel, D&K Rec, SSB 134 Georgia, D&K Rec, LM, Liberty, Zozo, Liberty, Michelle Nicholas, Jennifer Rochelle, Rita Schaefer, Connie Lee, Sooner History, Emily Flotilla, Kathy Fridaymaker, Georgina Stoliker, The Cat Eye, Liberty, Linda Howell, as in Linda Moldenhau of the Cattle Mutilations and Crop Circles,
Linda Moldenhau of the Cattle Mutilations and Crop Circles,
Holly Cake, Michelle Shade, Kit Kat, Emily Flotilla, Liberty, Amber Maiden, D&K Rhett, Georgina Stoliker, Jessica Schubach, Janie Sue Dobbs, I guess. Beholder, Vomit Face, Beholder, Vomit Face, Lil Andy, Beholder, Vomit Face, Scott Holland. Alright, yeah.
Whee! Yeah, I don't know how much I'm really tired right now. It's like, I just gotta go to sleep. So I might not do as much of the... Well, I don't know. I usually chill out anyways and just stare blankly at the screen, go check out some other lives or something. You know, I just go wander around.
Ring around the rosy pocket.
All right, you guys. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. And oh, wait, by the way, you know, the information that was put out today on the Delta variant was very misleading, and that's according to my father, who actually knows the data. That they made it seem like the odds of dying after you've been vaccinated from the Delta variant is so low, it's astronomical. Okay, like if you've been vaccinated, it's like 0.0000 something. It's not even close. Like, but it's a lot more transmittable. So if you're not vaccinated, you could be in trouble. You know. So I'm really telling you guys, if you're not vaccinated, reconsider being vaccinated, because it really makes a difference. Okay. Even if you don't want to do it. I've been vaccinated with Pfizer, had barely any side effects whatsoever. Totally, you know, it's safe, effective, all those things. It's not dangerous to take the vaccine. And it just is what it is. I don't know. I actually think they should just say, listen, if you've been vaccinated, here's what the problem is. The people who aren't being vaccinated are they are a petri dish to create other variants that might be more lethal to everybody. And I'm not trying to be like, oh wow, I'm actually that is the reality of it. Okay, if you're vaccinated, the virus, you know, it doesn't keep mutating around. Okay, as quickly as it does when you have an unvaccinated population, where it just jumps in there, it does its thing. Okay, so this is getting, and go watch the movie 12 Monkeys. Okay, I don't want it to get to some crazy thing where it's just, it can sidestep vaccines. And it's more dangerous. You know, the Chinese really screwed over the whole planet. Okay, really. I mean, I'm talking about the Chinese government, not the people. I don't know what that means, Charles. It didn't even make any sense. Let's see. Yep, tomorrow night's donation night. Yeah. End of the month. We can celebrate all of the donations that we made throughout the month and the final one. Alright? Yeah, I just think it sucks, man. I mean, get freaking vaccinated. I mean, you know? It makes sense. Yeah, but don't type stuff that in, Charles. It looks really bad typing something like that in. Okay? Just letting you know. So, that's all I can say. I hope you get vaccinated because I care that you survive. If you don't want to get vaccinated, that's your choice. But you're also making an environment where the virus can mutate more and more and more. Okay, so let's just all do the thing. I mean, I get it. It sounds kind of crazy and everything, but I just want to get back to normal again, don't you guys? I'm getting sick of this shit. Yeah, don't do the conspiracy shit. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Listen, it's incredibly rare to have a side effect from the shots, so don't bring up the one crazy random friend that had something. Because it's incredibly rare, and all that does is scare people. You don't need to be scared to go get it. Go get it. It's safe and effective. Alright? So if that pisses you off, I'm sorry, but I'm telling you the truth. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, and as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, flag rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Green is gonna get the vaccine. Get the vaccine. Get the vaccine. It's better than you ever seen. Fool deflector. I gotta do one other. Hey, I'm gonna make one of the vaccine. With a vector. Get the vaccine, get the vaccine. It's better than you ever seen. It'll make you lean when you're sick at home. I'm a pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody. Talk to you later.
Hello? But I don't eat it. I chew it up and spit it out and repeat it. It's not a treat. The troll is bait. Just one of the ways that I defeat it. Seen in the groove. When there's a troll on the move, just takes a second to remove. Cause every time I conclude, the troll is gonna lose. Nice try, lizard eye. I see you creeping on the sly. Why you think you're so fly? You're such a whiny cry. Battle me, you're gonna fly. Gonna send you out to mummify. It's time to say goodbye. When I'm in the mood, I sprinkle troll on my food, but I don't eat it. I chew it up and spit it out and repeat it. It's not a treat. The troll is beat. Just one of the ways that I defeat it. Staying in my groove when there's a troll on the move. Just takes a second to remove. 'cause every time I conclude, the troll is gonna lose. Nice try, lizard eye, I see you creeping on the sly. Why you think you so fly? Such a whiny cry, battle me, you're gonna fry. Gonna send you out to mummify.
Man, you sound like a robot, Timmy.
That's because I am a robot, just like you.
What do you mean? I'm not a robot. Gee.
Yes, you are, Mary Lou.
When I'm in the mood, I sprinkle troll on my food, but I don't need it. I chew it up and spit it out and repeat it. It's not a treat. The troll is beat. Just one of the ways that I defeat it. Say it in my groove. When there's a troll on the move, just takes a second to remove. 'Cause every time I conclude, the troll is gonna lose. Nice try, lizard eye. See you creeping on the sly. Why you think you're so fly? You're such a whiny cry, battle me. Hey, what about the music?
Hey, see, I say the same thing.
I know, but it was my best rap ever. Gee.
Wow, John Boy's crying now too. That little baby? What's going on with that guy, huh?
When I'm in the mood, I sprinkle troll on my food, but I don't need it.
I chew it up and spit it out and repeat it.
It's not a treat. The troll is beat.
Just one of the ways that I defeat it.
Feel in my groove. When there's a troll on the move, just takes a second to remove. 'Cause every time I conclude,
the troll is gonna lose.
Nice try, lizard eye. I see you creeping on the sly.
Why you think you so fly? You're such a whiny cry.
That'll mean you're gonna fry.
Gonna send you out to mummify.
Time to say goodbye. Hey, that was pretty good, everybody.
Thank you, Mary Lou.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, was it?
Wow, look at those guys working together. Yeah!
Woo!
Man! Those guys were phenomenal.
I hate you too, Zozo. You're never nice to me. You're only nice to Mary Lou.
Yeah, I noticed that too. She doesn't like me either. She throws tomatoes at my face.
That's true. Isn't that weird that she does that to us? We're very nice to her.
Hey, thank you, Zozo, for liking me more than them. They suck, don't they?
Thank you, Beholder. Thank you very much. I knew I had some fans out there, even though I sound like a robot.
You do sound like a robot, but I think you do just fine there, Timmy. But I'm glad they like me more than you, okay?
Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. Well, everybody, thank you all for showing up tonight. I hope you found it interesting. Anyways, we'll see you guys tomorrow on donation night.
Yeah, goodbye, everybody.
See you guys later. I hope you start liking me more, even though my voice sounds like a robot.
Yeah, me too, because I've been around a long time. And you guys are always such big fans of Mary Lou. What the hell did she ever do?
Well, I'm good at rap and you suck. Okay?
No, you suck.
Gosh, John Boy, you're so mean.
Well, to be fair, Mary Lou, you said he sucked first. You remember?
Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind.
Oh, boy. What a passive-aggressive pile there. All right, you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And as I always say, be safe out there. Good night, everybody. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.